It's been less than 4 years since the launch of the new 7 Series, and now another new 7 Series is coming. 4 years is a long time, and of course the competition isn't sleeping, so BMW is presenting a very extensive facelift. Such an extensive facelift that BMW says no model in the company's history has undergone changes this far-reaching. So among themselves, they call it a completely new 7. Let's see what the Germans considered outdated and decided to change this year. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Zakharov. Let's get started. Let's start from the front, where we see the redesigned iconic glow grille. Here we have slightly narrower kidney grilles with the horizontal lines inside arranged a bit differently. We also have Swarovski crystals arranged a bit differently, a bit more densely. Generally, as is typical with a facelift, the front has been refreshed. We also have subtle changes when it comes to the bumpers. By the way, this is the basic version, less sporty, more representative. From the beginning of this model, BMW has followed the principle of freedom of choice. The car looks the same regardless of the powertrain, meaning the electric and combustion versions look almost identical. Here at the back of the gas-powered 7 Series, unlike the smooth electric version, there's a chance you'll see exhaust pipes. Of course, depending on the engine version here, you actually have to bend down quite a bit to see them. Here we have the 740, which is a mild hybrid with a 6-cylinder engine under the hood. Now, speaking of it, this two-tone body really does the job. The combination of gray and black always works, plus 21-inch rims. These are the larger ones. The standard is 20, and the maximum can be 22 inches. Speaking of the engine, we have a 48-volt mild hybrid here. This is the main gasoline model intended for the European market. It has 400 horsepower, 580 Nm of torque, and accelerates to 100 km/h in 5.1 seconds. Let's take a seat now. Let's get inside. To start, I can show you a feature. If you press these buttons for a bit longer, both pairs of doors open automatically. Similarly, by holding this button again, we can close all these doors. An interesting thing is that, of course, there are all sorts of sensors and cameras here, so if I stand really close right in front of the door and press this button, notice that the door won't want to open. Of course, all of this can be configured in the car's settings, so that this button opens not all the doors, but only the driver's door. However, from the key fob, we can't make that decision anymore, so we don't have separate buttons for opening all the doors and just the driver's door. We set that in the car's settings. And now I could say that's enough of these gadgets. Let's take a seat inside, and here is where the gadgets really begin. First of all, you can see that the classic gauges are gone in front of the driver. What happened? Well, this car has already adopted the so-called panoramic vision. Look, there's a big screen that runs from the left to the right pillar, and from this angle maybe you can see it. I don't know if the camera will show it, but this is a screen that's built in somewhere deep behind the dashboard, and its image is reflected by the windshield to the driver's eyes. Not only the driver, but the passenger also sees the same thing. And in this way you get a set of information that's, I would say, highly competitive with the head-up display, which makes me wonder how long the head-up display will last with this solution. So here we have one source of information, here we have another source of information, and here we have yet another source of information. And here's a new standard feature. The passenger also gets another source of information, namely a 12-inch display. Wyświetlacz. I suppose that the requirements of the Chinese market dictated this solution more than the European market, because I think that in Europe no one expects this, and maybe they don't even understand it. However, in China this is very popular, and of course it had to appear. When you press the brake pedal, the doors close and you're left alone with this steering wheel. You have to admit the steering wheel is unusual, because here we're dealing with vertical spokes. I've seen various articles that explain why BMW decided on this particular solution, where at first glance it actually looks like the steering wheel is just turned sideways and you need to straighten it out, right? That's not true. They say the eye notices horizontal lines more than vertical ones. So instead of making the arms horizontal, they made them vertical, but the horizontal ones are still here anyway. Look, this gap between the arms, between this block of buttons and the steering wheel, there's, I don't know, maybe half a centimeter. You can see it's similar here, so really nothing was stopping them from having an arm here and free space here, but they did it the way they did. Apparently they wanted journalists to talk about what this actually is. Besides that, they wanted to be first because no one had done it like this before. And on top of that, no one is asking the question, where is my screen? Because you don't feel that empty space behind the wheel in front of you, because in front of him there's a spoke, and it's as if the attention has been redirected to that instead of to the lack of it. Clever? Clever. You can control the content of this big screen, and it's very easy to do. You just need to drag the option down here. We don't like that alien in front of us. There you go. We don't want that alien, so we remove it. Where can you remove it? Here, here, here. Now we put it back. It's gone. It's empty. What would we like instead? For example, air quality. Oh, let's put air quality in here. And now, right here in the middle, the car is telling us about the air quality. We can also drag the air quality to the right. No problem. It switched places. We adjusted it. We can also check our altitude. And we can do it instead of whatever was here. Here you go, 510 meters. I didn't know, but now I do. My dear friends, this episode is sponsored by Mubi.pl, which is a well-known way for you to buy cheap insurance. This comparison tool checks offers from many different insurance companies and gives you a ranking of the cheapest offers. When you buy through Mubi PL Zakar after purchasing a policy, you can also get 100 PLN cashback. Check it out yourself, even if your policy isn't expiring right now. After entering your car's details, you'll get an overview of the whole market in just a few seconds. But be aware, the prices displayed will be shown before that cashback is deducted. You can compare it to your last policy cost. It could be useful later. The link is in the description. And let's not overpay for insurance. Here, as you can see, we can also have maps. This immediately starts to remind me of the old Prius. Or information about power or torque. By the way, there's a new processor here. A new system, operating system X, that's what they call it, I think. While driving, if the driver wants to look at this screen, it will be detected by cameras, which I don't know where they are, but for example, here. And in this way, to ensure safe driving, this screen will automatically turn off. Oh, that's a 2-meter guy, obviously. But which doesn't have to have plenty of it. When it comes to physical buttons, we have a knob here. We have the gear shifter here. We have the start-stop here. As for physical buttons, we also have buttons on the doors. And this one is also crystal, of course, and as you can see, it's also physical. Besides that, look here at the steering wheel. We have this huge button, like a panel, which of course provides haptic feedback, giving you a tactile click when you press it. It works like a physical button and it works pretty well. And what's interesting is that these icons appear or disappear depending on the current situation, like what mode we're in. So on the highway, for example, the option to turn on cruise control will appear here. And when driving at low speed, the option to activate the automatic parking system will light up. All of this is adjusted to the current situation, so there's no information overload while driving. That's coming from someone sitting in a car with 25 screens. No overload? I don't know. Now the back seat. Behind my own driving position, obviously there's enough headroom. Here too there's plenty of space, so there was never any doubt that it would be comfortable, and that's not even the end of all the features. Of course, we have this big, huge screen here, which when unfolded is also accompanied by the sunshades closing, as you can see. The side ones would also close if it weren't for the fact that I have the windows open. And here, of course, we have a lot of different information. We also have a camera. We can hold teleconferences. We can also launch YouTube. We can literally launch YouTube and then, for example, decide whether it should be more to the left or to the right. Whether it should be in this format or maybe in that format. By the way, if I had to choose where this screen would be, I would move it back by about 5 to 10 centimeters because this distance is a bit uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortably close. We also can't forget about gadgets like the screens in the doors, where you can control everything from air conditioning to lighting, and of course the seats, which you can simply adjust by dragging your finger. Here on the right side, the boss can also adjust the seat in front of him, even unfold it into a kind of lounger. I'll try to show you that here. Oh, here's that button, lounge mode. We press it, I said. Oh, and off we go. And now it will slowly unfold there. This too, as you can see, is going down. It's unfolding. It takes a little while. Here the headrest is extending. Soon the footrests will probably unfold here. And it's going to be nice. But let me tell you something. I tried to sit here, and this president is like 1.90 meters tall, max. A 2-meter tall president? No way, he won't fit, I've checked. And we're almost ready. Almost, because the seat under our feet is about to unfold. And that's it. We're almost at our destination. And now the trunk. Here the documents actually lack information about its capacity, but as you can see, it's big. Although for the size of this car, maybe it's not that big. It also has a rather narrow base. Take a look. It has a pass-through for some long items, but generally for a sedan, when you open it here, you get quite a large, convenient opening. A couple of suitcases will fit, and that's enough. To sum up, this wasn't just a cosmetic touch-up, it was more of a technical update to the standards of 2026, and you can safely say that with these gadgets on board. And I could also mention the update to the i7 version, which got a longer range and so on and so forth, but I won't go into details. Anyway, every version of this car has moved forward. So in this way you could say that this car can still compete for the title of one of the most advanced, maybe I should say, computers on wheels this year. Thank you very much for watching this quick presentation. Please let me know in the comments how you like the new 7 Series after, let's officially call it, the facelift.